everyone, it's me, Chap.3, and I am back with you for more complicated love. Here we go. So, we had a great time, and Zane was completely clueless that I was posing as my sister Audrey. After he paid the bill, we walked out of the restaurant and proceeded to drive me home. I had a great time, I said, looking over at him with a smile. Me too, he replied. He walked over from the driver's side to let me out of the car and kissed me on the cheek when we arrived at my house. I walked up to the stairs and waved goodbye, and he waved back. See you tomorrow at Jessica's Sweet 16, Zane said. See you tomorrow at... Oh, hold on a second. Sorry about that. See you tomorrow at Jessica's Sweet 16. Zane said. Inside the house to go upstairs and go to bed. See you tomorrow at Jessica's Sweet 16, Zane said as I turned to walk inside the house to go upstairs and go to bed. Chap.4. This is now Audrey. Saturday finally came. The day of Jessica's Sweet 16. I am excited to go to the party today. I woke up and got ready and remembered I still needed to get Jessica a present. I locked the door behind me and headed to the mall. I walked into the Louis Vuitton store and bought her a red purse from the fall collection this year. I also stopped at Walmart and got her a gift card for her favorite restaurant, P.F. Chang's. As I was on my way out of the mall, I bumped into Zane. We greeted each other briefly because I was in a hurry. We parted ways and I drove home to get ready for this party. I took a nice long shower and put on a nice black dress and a sparkly gold flower clip in my hair to pull it back. As I was putting on my mascara, my sister, Andrea, came in acting strange. She asked if I had a boyfriend, and I wanted to know why she was asking such a strange question out of nowhere. Before she could respond back to me, I looked at my phone and realized it was time to go. I put on my heels, grabbed Jessica's gift, and left the house. So when I finally arrived at Jessica's house, I rang the doorbell, and Jessica answered the door, and she was wearing a red dress. The top of the dress had red dyed peacock feathers on it, and the skirt part of the dress was red silk. Hey girl, you look nice. Come on in, said Jessica. Thanks, happy birthday, said Audrey. As Jessica was thinking, as Audrey was thinking to herself, she looks so beautiful in her red silk dress. Her hair was pulled back neatly with a cherry blossom hair clip. I walked further down the hall of her house, interacting with some of my peers from school. I was talking to one of my classmates from English. From English class. Mid-conversation, I felt a hand on my back, and I looked over my shoulder to see Zane. I finished my conversation with Emily and focused my attention on my boyfriend. "You look beautiful," he said, kissing my cheek. "Thanks, babe, you look handsome." He took my hand, and we went to grab some punch. While Zane and I were standing by the punch bowl, Zane and I were talking. So that was fun last night, he said. "What are you talking about?" "We didn't go on a date last night. We were supposed to, but it didn't. We were supposed to, but we didn't. I left you a note. Didn't you get it?" I asked. "What are you talking about? I went on a date with somebody, and unless you have a twin sister or something, I'm confused. This has Andrea's name written all over it. I'm sitting, let's see. I go over to sit in my chair. Trying to hide the anger I felt for my sister, putting me in an awkward position. I take a few deep breaths to calm down, and before I get to say anything, let me see something. Say anything about my sister, Ashley and Caitlin walked towards us. "Oh, look who's here. The nobody." "Saying, why don't you accompany us over there with all the popular kids, like Jessica?" Ashley said. No thanks. Audrey's pretty popular to me." I couldn't stand listening to any more of their conversation. I discreetly excused myself from the table we were sitting at and sent a quick text message to my sister telling her that she has a lot of explaining to do when I get home. I waited to see if Andrea would respond to my text, but she didn't. Jessica found her way to me, and I put on a happy face. "Hey, I'm going to open my gifts. Come on." I followed her to the living room, which surprisingly held all her guests. Zane found his way over to me and put his hand, I think. And put his hand on my shoulder. Leaning into him, I started to relax and enjoy myself. Hold on, I think I will change that. Put his arm around me. He put his arm around me, leaning in. Zane found his way over to me and he put his arm around me. Leaning into him, I started to relax and enjoy myself again. She received multiple designer items, cash, and a homemade gift from her family. It was then dinner time, and everyone got to choose between steak or fish. I chose fish, and Zane got steak. During our meal, Zane picked up the previous conversation again, asking if I really did have a twin. "Are you sure that wasn't you on the date yesterday?" he asked. Let's see. "Okay, fine, you got me," I said. "Wait, what?" asked Zane. "Do you really have a twin?" Zane asked. "Yes, I do. Her name is Andrea, and we are identical twins. I left a note for you on my dresser, but it seems as though somebody else read it before you." I replied, "Andrea." And then Jessica approached me and told me, "Thanks for the gifts." Thanks for the gifts I bought her. And I said, "You're welcome." And we smiled at one another, and then she walked off. She said she had an important call to make. It was to an aunt living long distance. And while Zane and I were enjoying our dinner, who only but Ashley and Caitlin to walk up to us again. "Zane, honestly, I don't know why you aren't with somebody better, like me," replied Ashley. "Or me," replied Caitlin. I couldn't feel my eyes starting to tear up, and I excused myself and ran outside crying. "Audrey, wait," said Zane. But I couldn't wait. I needed to be alone. "Where's Audrey?" asked Jessica. "She ran outside." "What's the matter?" Jessica asked. "Oh, I guess it was what Caitlin and Ashley said," answered Zane. "Oh, sorry to hear about that." "Hey, Zane, I just wanted to thank you for the nail polish. It's such a pretty color." "Yeah, well, you're welcome. I'm glad you like it." Zane said, "But I really need to go and see if Audrey's all right." And Zane got up from out of his chair, back to Audrey. Oh, now we're going back to Audrey. As I was standing outside, looking at my phone again, trying to see if my sister had texted me back yet, with tears in my eyes. And then I heard a car pull up, and then heard voices, and two guys came out of what looked like a van. It was hard to see what they looked like because it was dark. And I heard another voice that sounded like maybe he was on the phone. And I was very frightened. I could hardly move. And then I got less afraid, and I asked them if they were here for the party. And one of the guys answered, "No." And then they grabbed me. "Hey, what are you doing?" "I'm gonna scream if you don't let me go." And so I did. And Zane must have heard me, 'cause he came outside. "Zane," I called out. And Zane started running over to me. "Here, you take her." I'll take care of this, said one of my abductors. Let her go, said Zane. And who's gonna make us? You? Said another one of my abductors with a little chuckle. Yeah, I am, Zane answered. And then they started fighting. And beating on one another. But I'm sorry to say my boyfriend Zane fell on the ground and he was out of it. No! I cried, tears in my eyes, and the van doors got shut, and off we drove, me and my kidnappers. Darkness was all I saw. I didn't know where I was going or where they were taking me. I was scared. I had only seen these kinds of things in the movies, but I had never expected this to happen to me. Where are you taking me? I asked. I didn't get a response back. Hello? I know you can hear me. Just shut up, will you? I heard from a distance. I tucked my knees into my chest and quietly sobbed in the corner. I felt the van stop, and I was guided out of the vehicle to a strange building. It was an abandoned old warehouse in the middle of nowhere. There wasn't another building to be seen for miles. I didn't know what these creeps wanted with me. Back to Zane. I slowly got up from the ground, feeling weak and bruised. Using the little strength I had left, I managed to lift myself up off the ground and stand up. Zane, are you okay? What happened? I heard Jessica yell as she runs up to me. I don't know. They took her. They took Audrey, I said. I picked up my broken phone off the ground and assessed the cracked screen. Jessica said, come on inside, it's getting cold. I was hesitant to follow her, remembering what had just happened, but I did it anyway. Can I use your phone? I need to call the police. Yes, of course. Use the landline over there. I immediately reported the incident to the police, and they assured me that they would be looking for the kidnappers right now. I tried to remember every detail from their build to their outfits to the color of the van. I hung up the phone after I gave them as much information that I could. I then went to find Jessica to let her know I was leaving. I wished her a happy birthday once more and let myself out. Don't worry. Sorry about that. Don't worry, Audrey. We will find you, I said. Andrea. I finally decided to reply to my sister's text and waited for her to reply, but she didn't respond. I waited a few minutes and then I called her phone. I called about four times and began to get worried because she hasn't been mad at me for this long before. So I rushed to go and tell Mom and Dad that something is wrong with Audrey because she isn't returning my phone calls or text messages. Well, honey, maybe her phone just died or something, answered Mrs. Simmons, the mother. Maybe you should try her again at 10 o'clock, answered the mother again. And then we should call the police if she doesn't answer by 10, answered Mr. Simmons, the father. So I just sat down with my parents and watch TV while I eagerly waited for it to be 10. Now it was 10:15, and so then we decided to call the police. We were all having fun. Oh, Jessica, this is at the party. We were all having fun at my party until I heard a knock on the door. I went to open the door, and 2 police officers were standing on the porch. "Miss, are you aware that somebody reported an incident at this location?" one of them asked. Jessica said that she was aware. "Yes, I am aware," I said. The officers asked to come inside and investigate the premises. They came in and looked around the house. Some people were looking at me strangely. Let's see. Some of them were looking at me strangely because the police were in my house. They asked questions to some of my guests, and some people became uncomfortable and left. Hold on just a second. So I am back. So these are the types of questions they would ask. Let me see. They asked Ashley, who was one of the guests at my party, and also asked Caitlin, and just talked about, they asked Caitlin and Ashley about the incident and Audrey. "Yes, of course we know Audrey. What happened to her?" "She was kidnapped," answered the police. "Kidnapped?" they answered. "Well, don't look at us like we had anything to do with it. Are we in trouble?" "No, ma'am, we are just asking questions, just trying to find out what everyone knows." "Oh, how long did you know Audrey?" "Oh, well, we've been going to school with her for a very long time, wouldn't you say, Caitlin?" "Yeah, Ashley, a very long time." "Were you guys friends with her?" "No. As a matter of fact, we were not friends with Audrey." "And why ever not?" asked the police. "Because she was a little loser and she liked our boyfriend Zane." "He's right over there, isn't he a hunk?" answered Caitlin and Ashley. "That's Zane over there." "Yeah." "Well, he's not really our boyfriend. We would like him to be, but for some lame reason, he's going out with Audrey. But maybe since she's been adopted, maybe he'll go out with us now. What do you think?" That'll be all, girls, thank you," replied the police. "So, are you Zane? Are you the boy that reported the incident?" "Yes, I am," answered Zane. "And you're Audrey's boyfriend?" "Yes, that's right." How long have you guys known each other? Well, we've been going to school with each other, and we've gotten to know each other pretty well, considering since we've only gone on 3 dates, but we honestly, to truly love each other, and we feel like it's been longer than 3 dates. I see. And they continued to talk to Zane. Let's see. And then they came back to and then some of my guests left because they felt uncomfortable. And then they came and talked to me, and they asked me questions like how long I knew Audrey, which has been a long time. We've been best friends for like forever, and stuff like that. And then they asked me, "Do you have security cameras at your house?" asked the police. "Yes, I do," I answered. "May we see them, please?" asked the policeman. So we went to where the security cameras were, so they could see them, to look at the footage. It looks like your cameras and your porch lights have been tampered with," said one of the officers. "Were you aware of this?" they asked me. No, I replied. The officers continued to ask around to see if any witnesses could give them any information. If any of the other witnesses could give them any information. Back to Audrey. I woke up with an awful crick in my neck. Remembering what had happened the night before, I continued to stay put where I was. I looked around the room and saw that, because I thought that what had happened last night was possibly a dream. At least I seriously hoped it was a dream. But then I came to realize that what I thought was a bad dream came to life. It was real, not a dream. The walls in the room were chipped with pale paint slowly coming off. There was a terrible stench in the whole building, and it was making me nauseous. I was laying on the floor with a busted mattress with springs poking out of it. I heard footsteps coming towards my room. I immediately pretended to be asleep again. A squeaky door opened, and a small amount of light came in the room. "Get up," the person said. And then I could hear the door being shut closed. And then a short time later, one of my kidnappers bursted open the door into the room I was in and shouted, "Get up!" once more. I finally gathered my strength to stand up. I heard 2 people outside of the room talking, and I tried to hear the conversation. "When's boss coming with the money?" "Soon. She's on her way now." I heard my abductors talking. I stepped away from the door before they caught me listening to them. An hour or so passed before I heard a woman's voice outside. "Hello, boys," the voice said. Did you handle that for me? Did you get her for me?" "Where is she?" asked the voice. "Inside," they replied. "Over there." Let's see now. well. And I will read you the rest of this chapter later. Can you figure out who the voice may be? Sorry about that. Just trying to be a little freaky. Anyways, so wait and see, and you'll find out who the voice is. Wait till next time. Thank you for listening. Once again, this is Charlotte like Charlotte's Web, reading to you a story written by Charlotte and Hazel Marie. Bye. Stay tuned. Please, subscribe or comments you may have. Thanks. Bye.